Prince Philip, 96, is comfortable and in good spirits but will stay in hospital for several days after his successful hip replacement op. The Duke of Edinburgh is said to be in good spirits following a successful hip replacement operation. Buckingham Palace said Prince Philip is progressing satisfactorily at this early stage at King Edward VII's Hospital, Central London. Flowers were today brought to the private hospital where the royal believed to have had the procedure this morning to try to end weeks of pain. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said today, the Duke of Edinburgh has undergone a successful hip replacement operation. He is progressing satisfactorily at this early stage. His Royal Highness is likely to remain in hospital for several days. He is comfortable and in good spirits. The 96-year-old had missed 3 appearances in 8 days because of problems with a joint. The Queen has remained in Windsor but is being kept fully informed about his treatment. Sources stressed the royal family were relaxed about the planned operation, but understand how serious it is for a man in his 90s to undergo surgery. Philip is said to be hoping to be fit enough to take part in the Royal Windsor Horse Show on May 9, and be an active participant at Prince Harry's wedding 10 days later. The procedure is expected to be performed under general anesthetic, but aides would not say if he is to undergo a full hip replacement or surgery on his cartilage. In 1995, the Queen Mother became one of the oldest people in the world to undergo a successful hip replacement at the age of 95. Prince Charles knew about the planned surgery before he left Britain last weekend for an official visit to Australia to open the Commonwealth Games, it is understood. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge saw the Queen and Prince Philip in Windsor over the weekend and returned to their Norfolk home for rest of the Easter break. A source told the Mail the family were relaxed and going about their business as usual. The hospital admission followed a series of missed public appearances for the Duke, although he was pictured driving a carriage in Windsor on March 5, and was seen in Windsor Great Park last week. On March 22 Philip pulled out of an official engagement with the Queen and Prince Andrew because he was said to be unwell. He had been due to attend a ceremony at Windsor Castle to formally hand over his role as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards to Andrew. He then missed last week's Maundy Thursday service and the royal family's church service on Easter Sunday, when sources said his hip problem had affected his mobility. The Duke stepped down from public duties last year, when Buckingham Palace stressed the decision was not health-related, but still accompanies the Queen on some public appearances. His surgery comes ahead of a busy 2 months for the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are expecting their 3rd child this month, and Prince Harry will marry U.S. actress Meghan Markle at Windsor Castle on May 19. Buckingham Palace last night issued a brief statement, saying Philip had been admitted to hospital for planned surgery on his hip. Officials said further updates would be issued when appropriate. While the hospital admission was planned, doctors will be wary of the potential risks of any surgery or anesthetic, particularly on a man of his age. Scarlett McNally, an orthopedic surgeon and council member of the Royal College of Surgeons, said, "Any operation and any anesthetic carries some risk. What is most important is someone's fitness, as in their heart and lung fitness, how much exercise they do and how well nourished they are. That's more important than someone's chronological age." Philip has been a lifelong advocate of healthy eating and exercise, drinks only moderately, and is well known for his robust constitution. When he was in his 70s, one of the Queen's former physicians described him as astonishingly fit for a man of his age. But friends said the Duke, known for his wry sense of humor, had joked he was past my sell-by date even before his retirement. Concerns were expressed for his health when he appeared to lean against a pillar for support during last year's Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph, when he and the Queen watched from a balcony for the first time. But a week later he was out carriage driving on the day of his platinum wedding anniversary, and he and the Queen celebrated with a party for more than 100 family and friends. In 2013, he underwent surgery under general anesthetic after he was admitted to hospital for an exploratory operation on his abdomen, and spent 2 months convalescing. A year earlier he was forced to pull out of several engagements to celebrate the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, having developed a severe bladder infection after being forced to stand for hours in driving wind and rain during a pageant on the River Thames. He was rushed to hospital by helicopter in 2011 after suffering chest pains, and was treated for a blocked coronary artery. Family friend Lady Myra Butter, who has known the Duke since childhood, told the Mail last night, "I'm really very sorry to hear that he is having surgery and very much hope all goes well." Richard K. Prince Philip's hip operation is to get in shape for Harry and Meghan's wedding and the Royal Windsor Horse Show. For the most part, Prince Philip takes bouts of ill health in his stride. But confronted by the possibility that an untreated hip complaint could prevent him participating in his beloved sport of carriage driving, he has accepted medical advice. The aim of today's procedure is, however, twofold. It means, hopefully, he will be fit enough not just to take part in the Royal Windsor Horse Show on May 9th, but, crucially, to be an active participant at Prince Harry's wedding 10 days later. Both are key fixtures in Philip's diary. Indeed, Harry favored Windsor as his wedding venue because it would be easier for his grandfather to attend. Although he's 96 and therefore the prospect of a general anesthetic cannot be taken lightly, Philip remains supremely fit and remarkably strong for his age. He still walks quickly with one hand behind his back, as of old. And he still cuts a dapper figure, with tailored suits and well-polished shoes. This helps give the impression of a much younger man. Someone seeing him for the first time would not believe he's an octogenarian. The Queen Mother underwent 2 hip operations in her 90s. She had a hip replacement at 95 and then, at 97, had surgery after fracturing her left hip. She recovered to continue carrying out public engagements. The Duke of Edinburgh, of course, has officially retired from royal duties, but he still makes a point of showing up at events, often unexpectedly, but to the delight of organizers. He had hoped to join the Queen for the Maundy service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor last Thursday, and his name was in the order of service. He was also absent from the royals' traditional Easter Sunday church service. The previous week he pulled out of a ceremony to hand over his role as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards to Prince Andrew. The fact is that he has endured severe back pain for more than 20 years. It is the reason why, at times, he has appeared irritable in public. But the hip problem has become acute. A close friend of the Duke describes his condition as the bones in his hip grinding together. Surgery, says the friend, does not intimidate him. For him, it is a simple choice. If without the procedure it means he cannot continue carriage driving, then it is worth undergoing an operation. He will only stop when he no longer enjoys it, not because he can't do it. Above all, he wants to remain active. When Philip retired from public duties last year, it was not for medical reasons. He simply wanted to enjoy more of his leisure time. Just a few days after Buckingham Palace announced the decision, he was carriage driving at the Royal Windsor Horse Show. He turned 96 last June, and a week later helped the Queen celebrate her official 91st birthday at the annual Trooping the Colour Parade. On June 20th, he spent the day at Royal Ascot, where temperatures were so hot that the dress code in the royal enclosure was relaxed for the first time. But that evening, Philip was admitted to King Edward VII Hospital in London as a precautionary measure, for treatment for an infection arising from a pre-existing condition. He missed the state opening of Parliament the next day, when Prince Charles stepped in to accompany the Queen. On his final official engagement on August 2, the prince strode with ease around the forecourt of Buckingham Palace in the pouring rain, meeting royal marines. He made an appearance at the Royal Albert Hall for the Festival of Remembrance in November, and then the following day at the Cenotaph joined the Queen to watch the ceremony from a balcony rather than laying a wreath. Fears were raised when he appeared to lean against a pillar for support while standing during the Whitehall service. But a week later he was carriage driving at Windsor on the day of his platinum wedding anniversary, and he and the Queen celebrated in the evening with a party for more than 100 family and friends. The fact is he has never really been the same since the Queen's Diamond Jubilee 6 years ago, when the Duke, just short of his 91st birthday, contracted an infection after spending 4 hours on his feet in the rain and cold during a pageant on the River Thames. Abdominal surgery, bladder infections and a blocked coronary artery have seen Prince Philip admitted to hospital on a number of occasions. But despite having to spend 2 months convalescing following an operation on his abdomen in October 2013, Philip appeared sprightly and walked unaided on an official visit to a care home when, at the age of 92, he was older than many of the residents. Royal Life has always agreed with him and most of his ailments and injuries have been sports-related. Philip suffers from arthritis in his right wrist, and broke a bone in his ankle playing polo. His arthritic wrist forced him to give up polo in 1971, when he was 50, after which he decided to take up carriage driving. The Duke is also an advocate of healthy eating combined with exercise. He once said he more or less followed the Atkins diet and he drinks only moderately. He takes the stairs, 2 at a time, rather than lifts, and still fits into the uniform he wore on his wedding day. But it is Harry's wedding day in 7 weeks' time that has recently been on his mind. Says the friend, with convalescence, he hopes to be there.